Yo, welcome to the Becoming Project, a space where you can hear the stories of the lived experiences from where it all began to the present. Who is this for? Well, this podcast is for anyone on a journey to becoming who God, the Holy, the Spirit, whatever name resonates with your spirit, is calling you to do, to be, to become. In these episodes, you'll hear from guests who have journeyed. We get to hear their stories of journeying and becoming who, in some of these cases, a lot of these cases, God has called them to be. But I'm sure we'll have other guests on who may not even be Christian. And so I think that's okay because we get to hear all of the perspectives from all walks of life. And that's what this is about. This is a show, again, for those looking to hear. We always listen and we always see on television people who have made it to the top. We see where they've begun and where they've come from and where they are now, but we never see the in-between, or we never hear those stories. And so the Becoming Project is a space where we can hear those stories, where we can hear the experiences and what it took for us to get to these spaces, or our guests to get to these spaces where they are. So today, I guess we'll hop into Michael's story. I am Michael Long. I'm originally from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, born and raised, as we call it, in the Sooner State. There you have to be either an Oklahoma Sooners fan or Oklahoma State Cowboys fan. I am an Oklahoma State Cowboys fan, officially, unofficially, if that's a thing. But it's a thing today, so we gonna call it a thing. So having been in Arizona long, it'll be a year in July. I can't believe we're almost at a year. I am a United Methodist pastor here at Dayspring United Methodist Church, where we get to do this beautiful broadcasting and production in our library. As some of you all may see, if you go to our YouTube, you can see our library behind us. We have some amazing books, amazing things on the wall, all of those things. So super excited to be here. Super excited to start this podcast. We've been having this idea for a while. And so now we get to live this thing out. Again, I am Michael Long, and you will go on this journey with me through the Becoming Project. So again, as I said before, I'm originally from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, born and raised, now living here. I'm 37, if that means anything to anyone. I am 37. Excited to get to lend my voice to this space. And my journey hasn't been an easy one. Coming to Arizona has been truly life-giving. I say all the time that truly I found life in the desert. That is not just metaphorically, that's actual facts. To live in this space, to see the life that the desert gives is very fascinating. And it's amazing how God orchestrated all of these things to fall into place. And so here I am. Here I am as a 37-year-old African-American male, queer male at that, who has come into his own being in Arizona. It took a while to get to Michael becoming who I know God has called me to become. And I'm still on that journey myself in becoming who God has called me to be. But, you know, coming here, I came out here officially, unofficially. And so because of that, that has sent me on its own journey and spiral, if you will, of what does life look like being a out queer man of color in a climate where being LGBTQIA plus is almost disgusting for some people, a disservice for some people. We want to take rights for some people, right? Like, so it's so many things, there's so many layers to what it means to be queer, especially in 2024, right? We have an election coming up. I just want to put this out there. This would not be a political podcast by any means, but we do have to acknowledge some of the things that are going on in our world. And we will do that from time to time. But as we come up on this political November, it is tumultuous out here just to live and just to live freely. As a good friend of mine always said, freedom costs you something. And so I've learned through my experiences of what freedom has actually cost. Freedom cost me to move from Oklahoma. Freedom cost me to move from Oklahoma and leave my daughter there, who I got to see every day, to now seeing, hopefully once a month. But I did this in order to, one, because God sent me, but two, to show her what it means to live a life that is free, that is filled with joy and hope, and peace, and just something different. Because for the first time, this is the first time I've moved out of country, or out of the country, out of the state of Oklahoma to live in another state. And so that was an experience within itself, to leave a place that I've only known, and to come into a space of the desert. I know I keep saying that, but it is truly the desert. It is truly a place where, we literally have saguaro cactus, fields and fields of these saguaro cactus. Beautiful in its own right? When you go hiking around here, you see the terrain is different. You go up, as we say here, to the canyon, because now I'm an Arizona resident, so I get to use canyon instead of Grand Canyon. So, as you go to the canyon, you go up the elevation and you see the terrain begin to change. And so it's almost like, too, you're becoming something else as you're moving through this differing of terrains, as it goes from desert to pine trees to lush grass to forest to, you see all of these different things in the state of Arizona. And so I too have come into this space different, changed, new. Coming from a Baptist background, I grew up in the Baptist Black Church. Antioch Institutional Baptist Church was my home church. And I always tell people I had the luxury of going to church with both sets of grandparents on my mother's side and father's side. So I got to see both sides of my family every Sunday, which was so cool. I don't know many people who have that testimony, but that's my testimony, and it was so cool. But it was also the place where I began to come into my own. I'm a singer, definitely was on the usher board. I feel like every child was on the usher board at one point in time in their life. I think I hated it because I had to stand up all of service. So it wasn't the most pleasant experience, but I think what the Black church does, and I'm sure many other churches, but especially in the Black church, we are taught at an early age what it means to be a public speaker, what it means to be in front of a crowd, what it means to begin to put programs and things together, because you were always thrust into those spaces. You were always thrust to go give an Easter speech, to be at the front, to host this event. And you saw that. You saw that regularly. And so I come from that background, again, singing in the choir, singing on praise teams, doing all of those things. But I remember seeking my call to ministry, really not knowing what that looked like, and where that came from. I remember asking pastor friends, hey, what was your call like? Knowing that all calls are different and none of our calls will ever be the same. But I was searching for something in my soul. I was searching for something. And so I remember leaving my home church, which was a monumental step for me. Leaving my home church, going to a different church where I sang on the praise team. And I remember singing there for a while, not even being a member. That's how, how I needed to get out and find my own way, get out from under mom and dad and grandparents, and truly go and seek, who is Michael, right? Like, who is Michael in the world? What is God calling me to do, to be, to become? Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Becoming Project. Looking for a more contemplative approach to Sunday service? During the times of relentless pressures, demanding schedules, 24/7 anxiety-inducing news, and the weight of life's responsibilities and critical decisions, our hearts and souls long for refreshment and peace that only comes from a deep connection with God, the universe, the holy, or whatever name resonates with your spirit. In response to this longing, we have crafted Sacred Space, a haven where we can hush the clamor of our overstimulated and overcommitted minds. Attend Sacred Space every Sunday at 8:50 a.m. in the sanctuary right here at Dayspring United Methodist Church. And so I went there and I began, this was around college, I guess, high school, college. And there I really found myself. I really stepped into the role of, I've been called to preach. I've been called to give a good word of God. And here I am, right? Here I am. I'd say I've been United Methodist now probably 6 years now. Full time, 6 years. I always knew ministry was what I wanted to do full time. I never knew what it looked like. I never knew how I was going to get there. And I say that, but let me back up, because growing up, I wanted to be a funeral director. So I have to say that. So at the age of like 10 or 11, I knew I wanted to be a funeral director. I know, wild. That young, and you want to work with dead people, right? I see dead people, right? And so that was a ministry for me within itself, right? Coming into knowing that I can do this job. I blame it on my mom. What up, Mom? I blame it on my mom because she would always take me to view bodies and, pull me right on up there to the casket. So I got to see firsthand my mom, touch on a loved one or kiss a loved one. And so I remember just in my mind saying, man, this is a ministry and I can do this job. This seems like a really, really cool job. And so I was on that journey, again, trying to find who is Michael becoming, trying to walk in the footsteps of my older brother at one point in time. He was a physical therapist, so I thought, I want to be a physical therapist too. Still holding on to the fact that, one, I still want to do ministry, and two, I still want to be a funeral director. So, but still trying to, we do this growing up, especially in the Black household. We always had a mentor of some sort, whether that was your father, your brother. If your father wasn't in the picture, then you found another male figure, or your mom really stepped up, right? And she became almost a mother and father figure to a certain degree. But again, still mother. And so for my journey, I've always been on this journey of finding that male figure. Yes, I had my dad in the home. My parents got divorced when I was 12 or 13 years old. And so, going back and forth between parents. But during high school, I lived majorly with my dad because he was so close to the school, right? He was closer to school. It was the high school I wanted to go to, the high school he went to, the high school my brother went to. So I wanted to continue this legacy of becoming the Longs, right? We go to Douglas High School. This is home of the Trojans. This is the pride of the East Side, if you will. Those in Oklahoma know what that means and what that stands for, and how this institution, this Black institution, this Black high school truly was the center of this community. A lot of my friends and their parents went to Douglas as well. So tons and tons of history. And so on this journey of becoming, I became a funeral director. So I do have my associate's degree in funeral services. My last semester, so get this, my last semester in college, I decided to just get my general studies degree. I know, 4-year degree. Some would say that was a wash, right? That was you let that fall down the drain. And I'm like, no, I really was ready to get out of school. Like, I was ready to be out of school. So whatever I needed to do to get out of there, I was getting out of there. And so I took a general studies degree just because I was so ready to go into ministry, seminary. And again, let me tell y'all, this was during COVID. So this was the height of 2020. So I graduated with my bachelor's from the University of Central Oklahoma in 2020. So there was no graduation. There was no walking across the stage. There was none of that. But still a joyous moment. But it looked a whole lot different than the average graduation because we were on lockdown. Like we were on lockdown. Like, this is COVID. This is the height of COVID. No one is moving. The world is shut down. And I had to graduate on a computer screen. Literally, I took a picture with a makeshift graduation hat, some you will find on Snapchat filter, and I sent that in as my graduation picture. No lie. And so that was my graduation because I was just so excited. I loved funeral service. I loved working in the business. I'm a very hands-on person. And so doing embalming and cremating and makeup. So makeup was my favorite. Makeup was my favorite part of funeral service. I love to, because I'm an artist, I'm a creative by nature. And so makeup was always like painting for me. The face is my canvas. And to take a picture of someone's loved one and make it look verbatim the same was a goal of mine, because I wanted people to have the last memory of their loved one to truly be that last memory of their loved one, and something that was pleasant to see on the eye, right? Like, because we've heard a lot of stories of people who weren't able to see loved ones as they passed because of whatever the case. Yo, we hope you're enjoying this podcast. We'll be back right after these important announcements.
Yo, it's your boy, Pastor Mike Long. Listen, I'm calling all young adults, no matter the age. If you feel that you are a young adult in heart and in spirit, I am talking directly to you. Listen, in the new year, we are kicking off a new service entitled Faith Unplugged. It is a service where conversation brings people together through faith, inclusivity, experience, and culture. We're bringing all that together. We're going to tie in some worship, but it'll be a service where we can come together, discuss the scriptures, the text, have a deep dive, and truly see what God is calling us to do and be in this new post-COVID world. Hey, I'm calling all of you, come out and join us starting in February, Faith Unplugged. I want to see you there. Peace.
So it was on me. I was like, man, I have to make them look good, right? And so this was my life. I knew I was going to be a funeral director. I was going to be in this space. And then I got married. And not saying because I got married, I had to leave that dream, but I was only part-time in that field. And so when you get married, that's a new level of responsibilities, right? And so I got married in 2011 and had a stepdaughter. And, you know, we were a family. And then my little girl came along some years later. And it was a good time. Being married was interesting. It was fun. It was a challenge. It was a journey. I am divorced now, but you know, I still care for my ex-wife dearly because she's the mother of my kid. You know, and so there's no bad blood there. But you know, but again, through that journey of becoming, I was married and now divorced, right? And so again, freedom cost, and I really didn't understand what that meant. Freedom cost. Well, what do you mean? Like freedom cost, becoming cost, right? Maybe we need to call it the Becoming Project cost, right? I don't know, but you know, but becoming and being free costs you something. You truly have to give up something that you've always made plans for, you've always had in the back of your mind. And sometimes you have to give those up. It may not be forever, but just for a little while. Because I knew then growing up, my sexuality was always in question. But again, when you grow up in Oklahoma, as I call it, the land of secrets, and we'll get into that in other episodes, but the land of secrets, there you truly live in a bubble. You live in a space where you don't tell your business, where no one knows who you are. You only give people as much as you want them to know and to see and to do. Like, that's all you give them. Like, that's it. So to live in the land of secrets and to be struggling with your sexuality was interesting. Like, it was hard. Let me just say that. It was hard at moments because I knew I couldn't be free. I knew I couldn't live how I felt everyone else lived, especially on social media. Yes, we know social media is quote unquote not real, right? Like, we know people post things, they pay for things, but what I saw were people living, and I too wanted to live, right? Like, I too wanted to be out there living my life, enjoying traveling and those things. And so I just felt like I couldn't. Living in Oklahoma, having this secret of sexuality and those things. But in becoming who I am today, I had to journey. I had to fight fear. I had to push past the doubts and all of those things. And so it led me to where we are today, to truly be at a place like Arizona, who is a very interesting place, because when you look at the political arena in Arizona, you wouldn't think that this would be a space for queer folks, right, to truly come and thrive and have and live. And yet at the same time, we're still fighting injustices when it comes to the political arena. Rights and, trans rights and LGBT rights and all of these rights that are just basic necessities for people to live, right? Like, these are just basic things for people to live. And yet they're being threatened of being taken away. And really, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, if, again, oppression is oppression, regardless of what side of the aisle it comes from. Oppression is oppression. And as someone being spiritual, I believe, Jesus has called us to set the oppressed free. And for me, that's all the oppressed. That's not just one specific generalization of one specific person or this group. For me, that's all groups. If you are oppressed, it is our job, especially as pastors. Let me look at the camera in this one. Especially as pastors, to help set them free, because that is our job. Our job is to bring the love of Christ that sets people free. That's our job. That's it. And so, yeah, here we are. Now I get to be in this space of, one, being at a healthy church, because I work for a very healthy church, very dope leadership. My lead pastor is not only a good friend, but he is a good mentor. And we meet regularly where we can just talk and catch up and work things out and talk theologically and all of those things. So, to have someone like that in your corner is very valuable. And I don't take that for granted. To have a support system that I have here in Arizona has been life-changing, monumental. And so it has been good, because I truly am still on this journey of becoming, but I've become who God has truly called me to be. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about you all coming along this journey with us as we get to interviewing just and hearing from different people. One of those people, I'm going to just do a shameless plug, is Bill Norwood. So if you don't know the name Bill Norwood, you will know the name Bill Norwood soon. He was the first, and I mean first, African-American pilot for United Airlines. Okay, let me just pause right there so you can just sit with that. The first African-American pilot for United Airlines. And we're going to hear his story. And so I think that is monumental in who he's become, right? And so being retired now, him and his beautiful wife, Molly, they're here, they're members of our church, but you're talking about history walking, right? What does Jaden say? An icon living, truly. He is truly an icon, and I'm excited and can't wait for you all to hear his story, because there's something we can learn and glean from the knowledge and the history and experiences of our elders, of our ancestors, of those, gone before us, who've yet called on us to continue to do the work. And I'm saying that not if you're African American, whatever color you are, you have ancestors. Some of you may not like your ancestors, and that's okay. But some of us do. And because of our ancestors, we're on this journey to continue marching forward to, again, set the oppressed free. So, again, welcome to the Becoming Project. I'm excited to journey with you all as you all journey with us. And so let's do this. This is our inaugural start to this monumental journey of the Becoming Project. And so, yeah, you get to sit in on this thing growing and evolving and becoming. We don't know what it's going to become, but we know that it is definitely, as I feel, ordained and blessed and loved on. And so we're just going to share that with you all. So again, thank you all for joining us and coming in and being with us. And so, yeah, until next time, remember, the journey is yours, and only you can get to the top in the ways you would get there. And so, hey, listen, I love you all, and we'll talk soon. Peace.